Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Hedger begins now.
Good evening, everyone. An emergency has been unfolding this afternoon with fires upgraded to the highest alert level near Edith Creek in the northwest, Lyweenie in the Central Highlands and towns from Geefston south. Late this afternoon, that fire that's been worrying authorities in the Huon Valley jumped containment lines and headed toward the Huon Highway. We cross live now to Michael Breen, who's south of Geefston. Michael, good evening. What developed there this afternoon?
Well, Louise, a really frantic firefight has been happening here south of Geefston since about 2:30 this afternoon. That outbreak happened about 3.5 kilometres behind me in the Waterloo direction. You can actually still hear the helicopters. They're really buzzing about, and we have seen a lot of activity of helicopters as they fought that fire. We have also seen the Huon Highway has been closed in parts, even north of Geefston. There have been some closures there just to allow crews to move, allow those emergency crews to move around. And yeah, we did actually see this smoke plume develop. It started fairly small and then became something far more serious. Let's take a look now.
This is exactly the situation authorities had been fearing. A takeoff this afternoon south of Geefston. A huge plume of smoke rising from the hills as a hungry fire tore through the vegetation.
What was that smoke plume like?
The smoke plume, it was quite a lot. It was quite dark, quite thick, and yeah, it just took off really, really quickly. Within a matter of minutes, this whole hill behind us was just black and gone. 5 helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft called in to battle the blaze. A flurry of helicopters in a circuit, taking water from all sources to try and douse the blaze. As you can see, we've got 4 choppers, 5 choppers out here now, taking water out of this bottom dam here and our dam at the back to just try and stop it in its tracks and try and stop it going any further south.
So what are you doing to the house here now?
Just hosing it down just in case. Flames down that way, they could be coming this way or anything.
An emergency alert issued as residents feared the fire would cross the Huon Highway, cutting off the southern towns, including Dover.
So in the path of that fire, you've got just a lot of dense scrubland. There are a couple of houses up the top here and up over the hill. Then you've got orchards and everything into sort of Waterloo way.
We do have this weather continuing on well into the evening, so it's a very dynamic environment at the moment. People need to be listening out for the changes that will occur over the next 6 or 8 hours.
The Huon River, known for its scenery, now put to use for different reasons. Water bombers scooping up hundreds of litres of water each time in the firefight.
And what have the helicopters been doing here?
Just circulating, grabbing water and then dumping it on the hills behind us, because the whole hill behind us is all full of smoke.
Earlier, crews called to flare-ups like this at Commandy River Road. Sudden outbreaks that quickly consume.
They start so small and then within a few moments it was above our heads because we were sort of looking at wet towels around us thinking we could put it out, and then within a matter of minutes it was not just above our heads but had just started spreading to the unburnt vegetation.
Part of Abby McKibben's property blackened after a flare-up here yesterday.
For us, it's always been not just the concern of our orchard, but more importantly, we've got neighbours just so close to this here. I mean, where I'm standing talking to you now, we've got a neighbour, 200 metres just there. So, this is just way too close for comfort, I think.
To more now on that emergency warning near Edith Creek. Authorities are predicting the fire will put farmland areas west of Troata Road at high risk as we go to air. That fire is uncontrollable, unpredictable and fast moving. Residents in Irishtown and Scotchtown are advised to adhere to warnings, with winds expected to further aggravate that fire in the coming hours.
So that's definitely a very dynamic fire at the moment because of the wind, and anybody in that area needs to continue to pay attention to the warnings that are coming out on that one.
The nearest evacuation centre is at the Smithton Recreation Ground. Meanwhile, there is some relief for many business owners staying put in heavily evacuated towns. The federal government today activating the disaster recovery allowance to financially assist Tasmanian workers under income stress. Closed for business, the surrounding bushfires pushing many residents out of their towns. But some traders are keeping their shops open, although there's barely any customers in sight.
Big downturn in people coming in. Probably only getting a third of the amount of customers we normally would, and all our trade customers basically had to stop over the last couple of weeks.
Loss of customers?
About 80% down on business turnover.
The state government acquiring federal funding to help employers and their staff suffering from income loss.
So it's a payment for 13 weeks and it is based on individual need. So people will need to contact Centrelink and make an application to seek the payments.
I mean, what concerns me is making sure we get as much financial assistance, community support, resources to fight these fires, and we have secured that from the Commonwealth.
The disaster recovery allowance today activated in Tasmania for the third time since December the 20th.
The initial payments were all about supporting the early disaster relief arrangements, and now it's coming to the next stage in terms of recovery and people's payment and their income. Individuals
in the Central Highlands, the West Coast, the Derwent Valley and the Huon Valley can now apply for assistance. This year's Festivale has been the biggest ever, with the event reaching its 10,000 person capacity for the first time last night. Around 26,000 people attended over the 3 days.
It gives us as event organisers a lot of confidence. We've tried some different things this year and it means that we know that we've got that part of it right. So we'll keep making some minor changes and making the event bigger and better each year.
The festival wrapped up this afternoon with live music entertaining the crowd. Tasmania's newest senator says family ties were not a factor in her pre-selection by the Liberal Party. Wendy Askew will fill the vacancy in the Senate left by her brother David Bushby, who recently took a diplomatic posting in Chicago. Askew says her background in the banking and not-for-profit sectors make her a suitable candidate.
Having a political family, I've had that interest all my life, so I've come and gone through politics and banking over the years, so I've actually bring a really different range of skills to the job.
She will be the state's first female coalition senator in 17 years. Tasmanians chasing more strikes on the bowling alley have had one-on-one guidance from pro-American bowler Kelly Kulick. Considered a role model for women in sport, Kulick became the first female to win a professional tour title in 10-pin bowling back in 2010.
Being one of the first women to break the glass ceiling just opens the doors, brings opportunity and awareness to the game of bowling itself, brings more recreational players into the local centres, and really just gains more fans for bowling.
The training sessions were attended by players from local competitions and focused on both technique and the mental side of the game. With this year's Launceston International wrapping up today, we've been given a rare look inside one of the world's most extensive private tennis museums, featuring the signature of every Australian Davis Cup player and nearly every winner at Wimbledon. The collection is highly regarded among the sport's biggest names.
It's a tennis disciple's promised land, wall to wall with the game's greats and served with the truly unique. Who knew tennis players once wore the baggy green or rectangle courts weren't always the norm?
They actually had different shaped courts, an hourglass court and a high net, which is a bit like the badminton does today.
Dennis Tucker's collection hails each and every Australian Davis Cup player.
Starting with Sir Norman Brooks, who's number 1, right to Alex de Minaur, who's now number 109.
Plus the signatures of every Wimbledon winner, bar a few which are hard to find, but he's made up for it.
I'm missing about 4 or 5 Wimbledon autographs. One of them is Harold Marnie, but be blowed, I've actually got his 1896 Wimbledon trophy.
The original will of the game's founder is just one gem in this trove of tennis treasures.
That's an inkwell. Right. That's a cigarette case. That's a sellotape holder. And toast rack.
Tucker's collection stems from decades following the game. He's been to every Australian Open for the past 50 years, and he has rackets going back much further.
While the memorabilia in this museum is from all over the world, this is one piece which comes from just up the road. It's an Alexander racket, which was made in a Newstead factory and was used by Jack Crawford to win Wimbledon in 1933.
Is there
One piece here which you'd rate as your favourite?
Oh, well, without doubt. I mean, imagine Roger Federer sending you fully framed a signed photograph of himself saying congratulations on your museum. So that's certainly one of my very favourites.
One of the greatest of all time, acknowledging one of the greatest tennis collections we're likely to see. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
South African Lloyd Harris is the Launceston International's new men's champion after a straight sets thrashing of Italy's Lorenzo Agostino, while a tight clash in the women's decider ended abruptly when illness forced Irina Kromacheva from the court.
The signs were there for Irina Kromacheva. Battling illness, the 4th-seeded Russian was drawing on every bit of strength to stay in today's final. She was up against a hungry opponent searching for her first title. Russian-born Elena Rybakina, now representing Kazakhstan. Rybakina took the first set 7-5, and it was 3-all in the second before Kromacheva pulled the pin. Clearly distressed in the scorching heat, she chose to abandon the match. The mixed emotions were evident post-game. For new champion Rybakina, it was an unexpected way to win top prize.
I was surprised. I didn't expect, but yeah. So I wish her all the best.
The men's game was much more one-sided. South African Lloyd Harris breezed past the depleted Lorenzo Agostino, who had come off a 2.5-hour epic against Luke Saville in yesterday's semi. The 6-2, 6-2 victory means Harris went through the entire Launceston International without dropping a set, and will break into the world's top 100 for the first time.
I would love to jump even way high as possible for me, and dream is to become a top 20 player eventually.
The top seed took exactly an hour on court to claim today's title and $7,000 winner's cheque.
Everything just went according to plan, so not dropping a set is like a dream come through in a tournament, so I'm happy.
And Hobart's Eddie Ockenden has scored the goal of the day for the Kookaburras in their first Pro League clash against the Netherlands, turning a great defensive effort into a goal.
Top of the circle, Govers trying to turn. What a pass back, and what a run that was from Eddie Ockenden as he continued his run after he fed it to Govers, and almost telepathically Govers picked out Ockenden.
The Kookaburras blew a 3-goal lead to finish tied at 5-all with the visitors. They then lost 4-1 in the shootout.
Back 27 degrees today in Hobart. Launceston had a top of 31, 29 in Burnie with 24 degrees in Devonport. 35 was the state's top for Friendly Beaches as that warm weather continues. 34 at Fingal, 33 for St Helens and Campania, 32 for Cressy. Scottsdale and Sheffield had a top of 31 and Geeveston hit 30 with 29 for Smithton and Wynyard. Smoky conditions do continue towards the west of the state. A low to mid-level cloud band moves southwest with low cloud off the east coast. Further out, a cold front and associated cloud band approach Tasmania and South Australia. Storm clouds visible over Victoria and New South Wales with a large monsoon low present as those spiralling clouds you can see over the northern parts of Queensland. Tomorrow the high lies over the Bight as part of a weak cold front lingers to the southwest and southeast of the state. A low sits over Victoria and New South Wales with monsoon conditions through the north. On the local waters now, and southwest to southeasterly conditions 10 to 20 knots, southwesterly winds increasing to 20 to 30 through the northwest and the southeast with seas between 1 and 2 metres, higher about the northwest. And there is a strong wind warning current for northwestern and southeastern coastal waters. Onto the forecast, 23 tomorrow in Hobart and Dover, 26 for Ouse, 28 in Launceston, showers later, 24 in Devonport, 26 at Scottsdale, 25 and sunny in Burnie, 20 for Strawn, 24 degrees at Stanley, a sunny day there, with a few showers throughout the east coast, 22 for St Helens and Swansea, and 27 at Ross. And the UV continues to be mostly extreme. A fine day expected for most centres on Tuesday, just some showers possible through the north expected later. Showers developing in the north again on Wednesday, extending statewide by the end of the day. Mostly warm conditions still, with showers across Tasmania at different times throughout the day on Thursday, hopefully hitting where they're most needed. Around Australia tomorrow, 32 and sunny in Perth, 28 for Adelaide, 35 with showers for Canberra, 30 and sunny for Sydney, with 31 in Brisbane and Cairns, 23 for Melbourne. And it's 23 at the moment in Hobart, 29 and sunny in Launceston, Devonport 26. And a big shout out and good luck to all those kids going back to school this week and to the teachers too.
Absolutely, yes. Good luck to the teachers. That's all your news for now. Thanks for joining us this Sunday evening. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.